Hey everybody, this is James. I am head of the soundboard team at Edge Theory. Welcome to our second of three training webinars to kind of get you caught up on where social media is going in late 2018. Today we're going to take a good look at LinkedIn. You know, LinkedIn's one of these platforms that's been around for a long time, and you might have thought about it back in the day and thought, oh, that sounds neat. You might have set up a profile and then hadn't thought about it again. But as Facebook has moved so much of their business under the umbrella of having to pay to get found. You know, a lot of B2B platforms and people have moved to LinkedIn to make those kinds of connections, and they've pretty much abandoned Facebook for those business style connections. Well, why does that matter to you as an independent business owner? Well, you've got to have a kind of a major shift in your thinking about the way you should view LinkedIn and its value to you. You should not necessarily think about it now as this place where, well, I'm not really looking for a job, so I'm going to ignore it. It's no longer just kind of an electronic resume that's floating out there. You've got to turn that around and think about it from the perspective of, I know where I'm going with my business. I know I want to grow it, but I want to make connections with people who are looking for something different, okay, who may be stuck in an 8-to-5 that they hate, who may have a passion for healthy living, who may have a passion for, healthy families, things like that. And so I want to be able to provide that to them. And I would like to, have this capacity to make these new connections on this platform and think on the business-minded side of things. Because on Soundboard, our goal is to provide content for you that is that healthy living stuff. But we also try to provide the business-minded content for LinkedIn so you can make a little bit more of these professional connections. You're probably not going to move product necessarily on LinkedIn, but that's not why we're here. We're here again to make those connections, to try to grow our team. We want to try to connect with the people who are more entrepreneurial minded. We want to try to make connections with people who are announcing that they're job hunting. Okay, so how do we do that? How do we get in front of those kinds of people? Okay, well, what we're looking at here is just the home feed of LinkedIn. And if you haven't been on it in a while, it does have a home feed just similar to Facebook or Twitter, where your connections, the people that you are connected with, are putting up content, whether it's articles that they find interesting, whether it is self-promoting their own business, which is completely and totally acceptable. If they're sharing a blog post about their business, if they're sharing a recent victory or announcement. Of course, you can also share photos, and just like every other platform, there are promoted posts and ads, okay, just like this. So you can kind of scroll past those, as you want. But then you have people who are in your network who are just talking about what they have going on in their world. So here's a little bit of a job announcement, okay, a rebranding of this company. So it can be personal like this, or it can be sharing a piece of content that you find interesting. Either way, you have the capacity to like, comment, and share, just like, on a Facebook or Twitter feed. And when you are posting on a regular basis, LinkedIn does a great job also of utilizing hashtags now so that you can be involved in these conversations and get found and show up in these searches. Let's start with you. Let's start with thinking about your profile. Now, LinkedIn does have a paid tier. It's their premium service. I don't think it's necessarily vital to do that unless you really, really want to, double down on trying to make a lot of connections here. The first thing that I encourage you to do is just to update your profile and to make sure that the information in it is up to date and accurate, because what LinkedIn is going to do a great job of is connecting you with people from past employment experiences, past education experiences, because you can put timestamps around the places that you were either in school or employed, and it'll help you reconnect with some of those past acquaintances and coworkers and fellow classmates and things like that. So as you're filling out your profile, of course, you can put a headshot there, and then you've got space for a background banner here. This will show up on the desktop and on mobile, so make sure you have a nice, clear, high-res image there. And then I just encourage you to go through and take the time to really look at each of these sections and get it filled out properly. So your background is going to be your major work experience. Okay, you can take this as far back as you want, back to high school jobs. Most people, go back to their first quote-unquote real job after they've completed their education. Do put your educational history, and then if you want to put some volunteer experience in here, you can do that as well. And again, this will be your title, where you've worked, where it is, and then the date stamps, and you can say whether or not you're currently there, and then you can write a description about it. If you want to, of course, you have the capacity to make it pretty robust. You can upload portfolios, you can link to blogs, things like that, link to your work, and then you do want to have this shared on your profile. You want to make this as public as possible. So after you've gotten your work experience in there, your education experience in there, then LinkedIn is going to let you start kind of quote unquote tooting your own horn a little bit. And what you can do is you can put in your skills, and then as people notice that, especially past coworkers or current coworkers, they can endorse you, meaning they're validating, yes, this person is actually terrific at whatever it is, business development, Microsoft Excel, whatever skills you have. This is a terrific way to, again, have yourself show up in search. Not necessarily trying to put yourself out there to find a job, but to get out there and make those connections with people who are hopefully looking for something that you have to offer. So again, just take the time to go through here. If you've got any major accomplishments, you can put all of these things in here. You can put in whatever information you want. You can request recommendations from people. You can, and then if you're multilingual, all that goes here. And then you've got just a nice little blurb about yourself to put there in the beginning. And then I just have the free version, but it will show you, how many people have viewed your profile, your articles recently. I haven't published much lately. And then how frequently you're showing up in search. Now you can pay to have more of this, and this could be interesting to you, and this is what you kind of need to consider. So you can see Natalie checked out my profile. I've had 16 profile views in the last 90 days, but the rest of them, whoever's looking at my profile, is hidden behind this paywall. Now that may be valuable information to you, and I don't think it's expensive. I think I'd have to look. I think it's $100 a year or something like that. It's not cost prohibitive to have that premium membership on LinkedIn, but you can consider that. Now, as you go through the tabs, once you've got your profile filled out, again, your home feed is just where people are putting content in your network. Your first degree connections are the people who you sent a connection invitation to and received a positive response. So you're a one-to-one connection. You will experience, as you go through your feed, people who are second degree connections. Okay, so Blake is a second degree connection, meaning he's a friend, he's a connection of one of my direct connections. Okay, so that is a potential way to make new connections, is to just send that person an invite. My philosophy on LinkedIn is if some random person sends me a request to connect, why would I not want to? It's just like exchanging business cards at a luncheon. It's just like being at a Chamber of Commerce meeting or some kind of professional meet and greet where you are here to rub elbows. Why would I not want to take that initiative and have more people know who I am and what I'm doing? So don't be afraid of strangers, and don't be afraid to reach out and make connections with people. So again, if I were to send a request to Blake to connect, he would see that I have a connection, in this case with his father, and he would probably accept that. Now, as you're continuing to go through what's offered here, this is something that, this may not be the place you want to spend much time. We've got a group of jobs you might be interested in, but again, you're probably not looking. Again, you're trying to connect with people. Now, there is a one-to-one messaging system built into LinkedIn that's pretty widely used. People can kind of get gun-shy about the one that's in Twitter just because it was co-opted by virus mongers for so long. But the one on the system on LinkedIn works pretty well, and so don't be afraid to use that. Then you also have a notifications tab here. This is a great place to check up on what's going on in your network. All right, it's going to tell you your network connections if they've got a birthday, if people are sharing certain content, and then it's going to let you know about work anniversaries for your connections. And it's pretty easy to hit this button and send someone a direct message based on what they've got going on. So that's a great way to touch people and stay in connection. Now, that's just kind of the basics. These things can be found on the desktop as we're looking at. They can also be found in the app if you want to do everything on mobile. Now, here's where this can get really interesting, is we want to think in terms, again, of how do we get in front of people who are interested in a topic? How do we make these connections so that we have down the road the opportunity to share? Just because we're posting in the home feed, if you post an article, healthy living related article, you're not necessarily going to get 5 people knock down the door and say, oh, can I buy something from you? You know how that works. So let's hop over here to Soundboard real quick. And let's search for something, business related. Here's a good self-care article about mental health. You can search for anything that you want. Here's something about mindfulness. Let's go ahead and just put in income. Let's see what's here. 3 things no one tells you about creating passive income. Perfect. So let's click on this. So as we scroll down to the bottom, we're going to hit the LinkedIn button. All right, we're going to copy that suggested text, and in the case of LinkedIn, it does bring up a whole nother tab here. And so now it's going to ask us, what do we want to do? Do we want to share it in a post or send as a private message? I'm going to share it in a post. I'm going to paste in that suggested text. Let's add a hashtag in here. All right, and you can see that they've provided a suggestion here. Passive income is a good suggestion. And now you have the opportunity. Do you want to just post it to your connections that you have? I highly recommend making it public, because why not? Why would you not want the opportunity for more people to see it? As a little side note, LinkedIn can publish directly to Twitter, additionally to publishing in the home feed. I recommend against this because Twitter handles it very poorly from a graphical standpoint. It is not going to put this nice looking image in here with an easily clicked link to the article. It's going to make an abbreviated tweet with a hyperlink, no graphic. It doesn't look good. Twitter doesn't handle things well from Instagram. It doesn't handle things well from Facebook. So I would say ignore that. We'll get to groups here in a moment, but if you are part of a group on LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to post straight into that group. And we'll talk about the value of that in a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and just make this a public post. And all right, we're done. So now we can come back to the soundboard and either find something else, or let's head back to LinkedIn. Now, just as a little side note here about your profile, I highly, highly recommend making your profile as public as possible. Okay, in your settings and privacy. Again, we're not trying to lock down things here. We're not sharing naked baby photos on LinkedIn. We're not sharing state secrets on LinkedIn. We are trying to get found. So within your settings and privacy menu, set it so that your ability to get found, okay, how others see your LinkedIn activity, crank that wide open and let as many people see it as possible. There's no reason not to. There's no reason to wall this stuff off. So play around with that. Now, in terms of getting connected with new people and for groups, let's think about this for, can't type and talk, entrepreneur. Let's think about this from a how do we get in front of new people perspective. Okay, I've just searched for the word entrepreneur on the search bar. Okay, and so you can see it's putting up people, jobs, content. But what we want to think about is, do we necessarily want to just connect with people, or let's click this drop down on the more button and look for groups. Okay, if you've been through any of my Facebook trainings, you know I'm a big fan of these groups that are on Facebook that are topical that you can join. That I think of them in terms of a warm market where you can speak the healthy living language into these groups, and you're getting in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of new people. So same thing here. Are you an entrepreneur as a business owner? Yes, you are. Do you have something to say in this space? Yes, you do. Is everybody who's in this group an entrepreneur? No, they're not. No, not in the least. Are these people hopefully wanting to be? Yeah. Are there people who are interested in what entrepreneurs have to say about things? Yes, there are. So this group has almost 53,000 members. I can guarantee you most of those people are not entrepreneurs. Would they like to be? Probably. That's why they're in the group. So when you find a group that you're interested in joining, can't remember if I'm a member of this group or not. So I'm already a member of this group. So when I click on the group, I can see all of the types of content that people are posting straight into this group. Okay, 3 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, it's a very active group. 15 minutes ago, you can see people are sharing articles and content. Incredible way to get connected with some new people. Comment on what other people have to say. Like their posts, get involved in the group, be visible, share content directly into the group as I showed you through Soundboard, and start making connections with people, okay? And then you're not a nobody when you ask for a LinkedIn connection. It's a very valuable use of your time because if you can make those connections and when people accept them, you can start that one-to-one conversation with the InMail system of, tell me about your interests. What are you working on? How's your business going? Ask for tips. Here's someone helping you create wealth with private banking. This person is a managing partner, owner of Rainmaker. I have no idea what Rainmaker is. Get people talking, appeal to their expertise, and then you'll have a turn to speak as well. So really valuable thing to do there. You can look for home-based business. You can look for direct sales. All these kinds of things have groups. Is everybody who's in the group already in that field? No, there's a lot of people who are there because they're interested in these things. So here's what I would encourage you to think about, and then we're going to wrap up. Again, just from a LinkedIn perspective, don't treat it like this unnecessary system because all it is resume in the clouds. It's not. It is a active, incredibly active business connection making platform. It is the biggest Chamber of Commerce, meetup on the planet that runs 24/7. Are you going to move product on here directly, immediately? No, don't have that expectation. Are you going to make connections with people who potentially can start asking questions about what it is that you do? Absolutely. So please treat it like that. And I think you're going to find it to be a very unique, different, valuable platform that runs in parallel to Facebook, that runs in parallel to Twitter. Each have their own audiences, each have their own purposes and their own value. But the types of connections that you're going to make here really could be the types of connections that help you grow your business. So I hope that's been helpful. We will pick this series up again next week, and we will talk about Instagram and some of those other platforms that are out there. We'll also hit on Twitter next week, so I hope you can join us.